And last part, we're talking about the large intestine. Something special for large intestine is they don't produce any enzyme. Major function is reabsorb water, bile salt, and the vitamins. But water is not the number one in the GI tract. They also produce the waste and the gas. Maybe more important is in the left pedicle. I will give you the slide and ask you. This slide is from esophagus, stomach, small intestine, or large intestine. And what's special for large intestine? The first, they don't have microvilli, kind of flat on the top. The second thing, they have a lot of goblet cells, produce mucus. Okay, so these two is special. And they also lost some of the longitudinal muscle. In the slide, probably you focus more. Look at the surface, it come off flat. It's not villi. White spot there, they all belong to goblet cell or mucus cell. Okay. One part of this absorption of vitamin I didn't go very detail. Didn't go very detailed last week. Is about we had 4 groups of vitamin: water soluble and fat soluble. Water soluble majorly they will go through blood capillary through this diffusion. Follow this concentration from this one is lumen, then epithelium cell, and then they will go to the venous system, right? But vitamin B12 is a little bit special. It's water soluble, but they cannot diffuse. They need to have ATP, the active transport. They need an intrinsic factor to combine with it and to absorb it. And I had to give you a little bit review from the stomach. We say the upper part of stomach, one type of cell is parietal cell. Major function is produce HCl, right? Very acid. The second function is secrete intrinsic factor. It's kind of a polypeptide. And that one is for B12 absorption. Okay, so we go down to here. And B12 is important for red blood cell formation in the bone marrow. So when people are getting old, they need more B12. Why? Because they lost some intrinsic factor. So they cannot absorb very well. The fat soluble vitamin include A, D, E, K. Vitamin A, D, E, K. Okay. Then they need to go through my cell. Then that one had to give you a little bit showing this one. They had to go with the lipid, and when we absorb this fatty acid or monoglycerol, and we call it micelle, M-I-C-E-L-L, and then it will go into epithelium cell, and then will go form this chylomicron and go into the lactea, go into the lymphatic vessel. Okay, so the fat soluble vitamin goes through lymphatic system. Okay, and the other part of this water soluble then will go to blood capillary. So a little bit different from here. All right. This flow chart is important. I will come back to here later. Okay. keep in mind, we know this microvilla of this epithelial cell in small intestine, we call it brush border. Okay, and enzyme produced here we call brush border enzyme. They can digest the last part of sugar from disaccharide to monosaccharide, 2 units of the sugar to simple sugar, or they can cut 2 peptides to a single amino acid. And this one we already mentioned. So one day, the whole water volume we produce is roughly 9,000 ml. When they reach to the small intestine, okay. When they go to the ileum cecal valve, the end of small intestine is down to 1,200, and go to the faces about only 150. Okay, so one part is by colon or large intestine, about 1,000 something. But majorly is absorbed from small intestine, roughly we absorb 7,000 to 8,000 ml for the food. Okay. Now the summarize, when you finish all this chapter and then look at the major GI tract, and that's from oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, and know their major function. Okay, and keep in mind is esophagus produce no enzyme, pharyngeus no enzyme, large intestine no enzyme. Here put enzymatic digestion. The enzyme is coming from small intestine and they continue to digest. Okay. And for the accessory gland, very important is the liver, majorly produce bile, and liver produce no enzyme. Cooperated just for storage and concentrate of bile, no enzyme. Pancreas had a lot of enzyme. Salivary gland enzyme. Okay. Now, I like this table. I put some arrow here. Is the final digest of the nutrient. I put one arrow here is for sugar. This one, carbohydrate, is carried out by brush border of small intestine, and that will form simple sugar or monosaccharide. So that's for sugar. And before that, we had salivary amylase. We had pancreatic alpha amylase. And stomach produce nothing for digest the sugar. Now we jump to for protein, the final enzyme is brush border enzyme. Brush border enzyme. Either cut this dipeptide to single amino acid, or cut this trypsinogen to trypsin. That will be the last step. Okay, and in between we have pancreatic enzyme that they can digest protein, polypeptide, but not the final. We have renin can also can digest hollow. And for the lipase, for the sugar thing, we only have 2. The final enzyme is pancreatic lipase, and the first one is lingual lipase from the tongue, on the back side of the tongue. Okay. For nucleus, break down DNA, RNA only for pancreas. So if the multiple choice asks you what is the final enzyme to digest DNA, RNA, and answer is from pancreas. What is the final enzyme to digest lipid? Pancreatic lipase. What is the final enzyme to digest protein and this brush border enzyme, and then you don't need to worry about the name of here, okay, like dipeptide or peptidase. The final enzyme digest sugar will be from brush border of the small intestine. Okay. Some clinic condition, infection of appendix, we call appendicitis. They will cause fever, cause nausea, pain, vomiting. The location of appendix is in the right side, lower part of the body. Okay, and it is kind of very easy treatment. If they really got infection, you use a painkiller, you use Advil or any kind of thing to reduce the pain. It's not going to help, and you have to surgery cut it away. Okay, and so it's very easy for a doctor to cut out. Maybe they only spend 10 minutes, they can cut it out. But if someone wait until you rupture, that's horrible. They will cause the infection for the entire peritoneum. We call peritonitis. And this here, because several years ago, I had one student in my class, and she got this pain on the right side, and she just wait and don't do anything, okay, until one day it's ruptured. Rupture means what? That bacteria will go to the all abdominal cavity, and at that time she need to stay in a hospital maybe 2 or 3 weeks. They had to take out all the small intestine, large intestine, and clean up, okay, with a normal saline and a lot of antibiotics, and so they create a lot of big problems. And so if you have pain here several days and you got fever, okay, don't just take this Tylenol or Advil, okay, check with a doctor, okay. The surgery is very easy because it's on the surface. If they cut it, doctor can do it 10 minutes, okay. But if you delay, that's a problem. Okay? Defecation problem, that means too much water or too less water. Diarrhea or constipation, okay. Maybe most of people, the problem is this one, constipation. Especially you don't eat a lot of fiber or exercise or drink a lot of water, that will happen. Especially when before the exam, before the MCAT, okay, before the DAT, okay, before the final exams. So you have to have enough vegetable or fruits, okay. And if you don't have enough, I tell you one easy way is drink prune juice, okay? Because the prune juice had one material that will cause diarrhea, okay? But don't drink too much, okay? And then you change it from constipation to diarrhea. You can drink some of it, or even the fruit, the dry fruit, the plum. You can have several pieces a day, it should be fine. You people getting old, what's the problem? Everything decreases. The motility, the contraction of circular longitudinal muscle, and the lost mucus, lost the appetite, okay, and usually is kind of lost the taste, and difficulty swallowing is also one problem. And some of them is hemorrhoid, bleeding from the anus. But people getting old, the other problem they worry about is cancer. Most common one is colon cancer. Okay, so I add this from other information is called colonscopy. How to prevent it? That will put in the endoscope through the anus and all the way up. And how they can do this is one day before the procedure, the doctor will ask the patient to drink a lot of this citric acid, some kind of fruit to cause diarrhea and clean up all this small intestine and large intestine. Okay, and the day of procedure is under the whole body anesthesia. They put a catheter from the anus all the way up, descending colon, transverse colon, ascending colon. They can even enter this ileum cecal valve and go a little bit short distance for the ileum. And doctor can look at the inner surface for all this large intestine passway. And if they find out some we call polyps, little bit outgrowth in the inner surface, or small tumor, they can burn it. And come a laser on the top of the catheter. Okay, and then also can do the biopsies, take out some tissue, and do the histology study. And if they find out cancer, they can do the surgery early. Okay, and when you have to do this procedure, doctor recommend after 50 years old, because you're young. If you don't have the history of your family, it's probably okay. And they recommend at least every 5 years to do this. So if your parents is this age over 50, okay, you have to tell them, okay, go and do this colonscopy, okay. Actually, the surgery, this procedure is very easy. Take about 20 minutes. But the horrible thing is one day before that, had to drink a lot of this chemical to cause it diarrhea, okay, to remove everything in the large intestine and also small intestine. Oh, I just remind you again, okay, you want to be a TA, okay, very easy. Your science GPA greater than 3.0, your AMP2 above B plus probably, okay, and you're taking this 54302, and you only can allow twice. So someone says, I already did this twice. You can do volunteer, okay? I accept volunteer, okay? You can send me email, and then I will arrange either summer or in the fall. Okay, I think we finished this chapter, right? Alright. Now I want to go to the next chapter. Urinary system. Okay. Urinary system, we know we had two kidneys. We had two tubes called ureter. We had one container called urinary bladder. We had one outer passway called ureter. Okay. Let's take a look up here. That's for female, and you can see two kidneys.